Bernard greeted me with a curled lip and a growl the first time I went in, so I immediately left and came back 10 minutes later with hot dogs. He was found tied up outside in a public place, so it's no surprise that he's going to need a little time to trust the two-legged species again. I could tell right away that aim was important, so I tried to get the hot dogs as close to him as possible. I got a lot of side-eye when I squatted to get down at his level, but he didn't growl again, so I just kept the hot dog stream steady. But when he turned his gaze away from me for a while, I took the hint and left. An hour later, I was back. I could already tell Bernard was more comfortable with my presence, so I got down to his level immediately. He wasn't ready to take treats from my hand yet, but he was close. After a blatant reminder that the agenda today was hot dogs, I tried again, and this time he did it. We were in business. He quickly became more comfortable with my hand, licking it at one point, probably because it smelled like a giant hot dog. But when I ran out of hot dogs, he made it clear that my treats were subpar, and we were finished for today. I took my cue and left. A few days later, I was back with more meat from a tube. Bernard was ready to get straight to work, taking the food from my hand immediately. A supervisor confirmed that he was at very high risk because he was not considered adoptable right now, but there was an animal care technician who was extremely attached and working with him daily. You could tell that he was becoming more comfortable with people. While I didn't want to do anything stupid that made his chances of becoming adoptable worse, I also knew that it was mission critical to get him out on a leash. So I brought out the big guns. Cream cheese. He didn't have a huge reaction when I brought the leash out. He was curious, and he took the cream cheese off of it, no problem. But even a well-adjusted dog doesn't really want a noose over their head, so I knew this was going to take some finesse and patience. Because we walk a variety of dogs with different body types, we have to use these harness leads that are one-size-fit-all. But they're hard to get on, especially when you have a skittish dog. Bernard was a total champ, though, and he got a lot of cream cheese as a reward. Now that he was leashed, I had to see how he was outside the kennel. He had no issue leaving. It was almost like, hey lady, what took you so long? I was still waiting to see if he would pancake out in broad daylight, but he didn't. He was like, let's go. By no means was he super relaxed. Tail tucked and looking around, he was too nervous to take treats from me. Now I know what you're thinking, astute viewer. Volunteer Mags, that was not a hot dog. But once we were in the play yard and he relaxed a little, he did take my basic treats. His tail loosened, everything about him loosened. I decided he was ready to leave the shelter grounds on a walk. His first test was a squirrel. It ran right in front of him. He was like, well, how about that? Let's keep going. I found that he does not pull much on leash, and he checks in often if you ask him to. So far, he was nailing all the tests. And can we just talk about how cute he is? He's 32 pounds, supposedly a year. He's got these ridiculous little freckles on his nose. He's some kind of border collie mix, they say. He's still not in love with human touch. Like, I stop petting him here and he walks away. It's known as the consent test. It gives the dog the power to choose if they want to be touched or not. In Bernard's case, it was sometimes, not always, light touch only, please. This will not necessarily be his forever preference. It's just like I said, he's still learning to trust the two-legged species. There's this guy approaching, and Bernard is not growling or cowering or anything like that, but he's not interested. He's not going towards him like a lot of dogs that I walk. And this woman, he's going towards her in the wake, but not when she was approaching us. He's curious what she smells like. We don't know how he is with other dogs. Not much of a reaction when this little one passed. When I took him to see the feral cats on the property, he didn't exactly react, kind of like with the squirrel. Doesn't mean that he doesn't have prey drive, but so far he's not exhibiting much. This means he might be a good candidate for living with cats, but no proclamations here. Sometimes dogs can suppress behaviors in shelter because they're under stress. As of this recording, Bernard is still rescue only. That means he cannot be adopted or fostered through the shelter. But most rescues can't pull right now because they're full, unless they have a foster lined up. Do you see where this is going? If you have fallen totally in love with Bernard watching this video and you think you have what it takes to provide a secure, loving foster home, let me know. But don't let me know in the comments. Everyone will think you're taking him and maybe you're not. Send me a DM. No guarantees this will work, but we have to try. Bernard thanks you in advance. And no, I didn't rub hot dogs all over my face.